You know, I went out on a limb for these 10 fragrances. I had to get out of my comfort zone just a little bit. I've said this before, and people probably think I'm joking, but legitimately, 99.9% of my fragrance purchases are blind buys. That's just the truth, because my thought process is with having this channel is, well, I might as well just buy it because I know at some point I'm going to talk about it in a video. Even if I don't like it that much, I'm still going to bring it up and I'll tell you guys, hey, this particular fragrance here, I don't like. And so at least if I have it on hand, I can still show you guys. I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's kind of my job here to accumulate as many fragrances as possible for your benefit, hopefully, so that way you can learn something along the way and decide what will work for you and what won't work for you. I'm just kind of the scapegoat here. I'm just trying a bunch of stuff, and every now and then I come across something that's really good and it's something worth getting excited about. Other times, maybe not so much. But this is an interesting situation where these 10 fragrances were a bit of a risky blind buy for me. I really wasn't sure what I was getting myself into. But at the same time, these 10 fragrances turned out to be some of my favorites, and it really shocked me. So 10 risky blind buys that paid off big time, that's what we're going to be talking about today, and there's some really good stuff in here, and I think you guys are probably going to like them as well. I'm not condoning that you blind buy these. This is at your own risk, of course. It's always best to sample, but at the same time, if you know what you like and these fit your criteria, maybe it'll work. Now, on my community tab, I'm posting deals over there every single day. I point this out because some people don't really know that the community tab is a thing on YouTube. So work your way over there. I'm posting several times a day deals on fragrances, whether it be a brand new scent coming out, whether it be a more rare or discontinued or hard to find fragrance that is now in stock, that sort of thing. I post about that multiple times a day. So get subscribed so those posts show up in your subscription feed, and also maybe even bookmark that page on your browser. That way you can go back to it and check it multiple times and make sure you're not missing out, because trust me, I've missed out on deals many times and it never feels good. Like, for example, L'Eau d'Issy Pour Homme or Encens. I'm completely messing this up. Or Encens is in stock right now, or at least when I'm shooting this. A lot of you guys have picked up your bottle already. This is a fantastic scent. Woods, incense, smokes. Smells fantastic. It's a discontinued one. They don't make it anymore, but there's some stock that's very limited. Stuff like this, where if you weren't subscribed to my community tab, you may not have seen it. So I'll see you guys over there. But for now, let's get into this one. We're going to start this one off with Carolina Herrera Iris Empire. So I am now currently 3 for 3 with this line from Carolina Herrera. I'm telling you guys, these fragrances are incredible. The first one I got was Bronze Tonka. That's very nice stuff. More recently, I've picked up Mystery Tobacco, also fantastic. It's kind of like a hybrid of Carlisle and Red Tobacco, just a little bit more mass-pleasing, so to speak. And now my third pickup here that's also stunning is Iris Empire. It's got iris, it has chocolate, it has leather. Now, why was this a risky blind buy? Because I love iris, right? That's probably what you're thinking. And that's simply because it's a unisex fragrance, as is, I think most of them probably are in this line. I'm sure they're all just kind of labeled as unisex, right? And so when it comes to iris fragrances, sometimes you never really know. I've got so many that I love, but sometimes you may get into something that leans too feminine or too sweet or something. And so going into this, I had a feeling I might like it, but I also was like, you know what, this could completely backfire on me. And I have to say, this one here is gorgeous. So the way to think about it is it kind of taps into the Valentino Uomo Intense DNA a little bit, but then it also has bits and pieces of C.H. Men Privé from that leather accord, and there's even almost a little bit of a boozy whiskey accord as well, also kind of derived from that C.H. Privé comparison there. I'm super excited about this stuff. I love it. Might be my favorite pickup out of all of the ones that I own from this line. I mean, this and Mystery Tobacco is a close second, but wow, is this great. I went out on a limb, paid $230 for this, not knowing for sure if I was going to like it, and I love it. If you like iris, this might be the way to go for you. So I was a little bit excited about that one there. I'm going to try to run through these a little bit quicker going forward here. Next up, we have The One Mysterious Night by Dolce & Gabbana. Now, this one here is one of their exclusive editions, and this is the only one in the Dolce & Gabbana, the one line that uses oud. And so for me, anytime I see oud in a note breakdown, red flags come up. Maybe not necessarily red flags like, oh, that's a bad thing, but yellow flags, cautionary. I'm like, okay, I've got to be careful here because I'm still not super crazy into the very heavy, strong oud fragrances. And so I do kind of, tread with caution. Because this is a Dolce & Gabbana The One flanker after all, I knew it wasn't going to be that strong. It wasn't going to be super animalic or anything. Or at least I didn't assume that it would, and it's not for the record. But I was still a little bit on the fence. I picked it up anyway just because I kind of have to have it, right? Buying guide and all that stuff, which, have I done a buying guide on Dolce & Gabbana The One? Have I? You guys let me know because I actually can't think of that right now. But the point is, this turned out to be really nice. A very nice designer level oud. It still has bits and pieces of that original DNA in here. Next up, we have Cartier Linvol. So this one here has notes of honey, cedarwood, and iris. There's kind of some patchouli as well. It's more classic, right? Definitely more of a gentleman's scent. And the note breakdown did kind of throw me for a loop. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be into this. It just looked as though it was going to have kind of an older, more classic smell to it. And it does, but in a really, really still modernized way. And in a way where I think a lot of people would actually like this one more than they initially thought they would. At least that's how it worked out with me. The bottle is quite funky. You can now choose to buy these in an upgraded bottle that doesn't have this deal going on. It's just solid glass. This can be a little bit sketchy, but I will tell you, I didn't give this any extra treatment when we moved, to our new house here. And I also didn't give it any extra treatment when I had to pull everything off the shelves again because our basement flooded. So the point is, this has lasted through a couple moving sessions, and especially during the last one, I was so frustrated that I really didn't care what happened to this bottle. This was the least of my concerns, so it held up. Really nice scent though that I didn't think I was going to like, and of course I blind bought it, but it actually turned out to work really well. We're going to cover one of the two niche fragrances here in this one. From Initio, it's Oud for Greatness. So, of course, it's going to have oud, right? It's going to have saffron. There's nutmeg in here. Really, really nice, wearable oud. Believe it or not, I do think this is wearable. Now, it's going to be a little bit more challenging than the Dolce & Gabbana The One Mysterious Night that I was just talking about with oud in there, but also not to the level that a lot of people will be scared of, and probably what a lot of people think of when they see oud. It's easy to see that note and think of the most atrocious, skanky, nasty smelling oud, but a lot of times that isn't the case, and it definitely isn't here. I really, really like this one. And Joma Shop currently has some of the best prices on these Initios, but they're going to be raising the prices soon. They've told me this, so I can tell you guys this in a couple weeks. So hit the link down below, pick this up while you can. Same with all Initios. I'm going to make a video talking about all of this here, but just so you know, their prices are going to be going up. They've got some of the best on the market for Initio prices right now, but they're going to go up like I mentioned. So if you want any Initios, now would be the time to do so. Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Coral Fantasy was also a blind buy because I bought it when it first came out at full retail, and this was the only size that they had available. And I really didn't think I was going to like it at all, because my track record with the Born in Romas hasn't been great. Yellow Dream I didn't care for. The original has come to grow on me, but more so in a way of I tolerate it because it's a great mass pleaser, and it's a DNA that I really am fond of, which is kind of the Invictus Aqua Rassasié Havas DNA. And so by default, I like that one, but it definitely wasn't doing anything that hasn't been done before. Not that that's a bad thing, but I just didn't really have the best hopes for this one. It has red apple, there's tobacco in here, some aromatics or tobacco leaf, I suppose. So while the note breakdown did look interesting to me, I still wasn't for sure. I got this one in, and I've got to say, I actually think this is a really solid spring, summertime release. I wasn't expecting that, but they really kind of did a good job with this one. Something a little bit of a different twist, and I respect it. We're going to knock out that second and final niche fragrance here. This is Xerjoff Richwood, 100 ml bottle. This stuff is not cheap. I don't even remember what I paid for this, but I do know that it's top tier. Patchouli, sandalwood, and vanilla are some of the main notes. If I had to describe this in a way without trying to come across arrogant or like cocky, it literally smells like a baller fragrance, right? And that does come across as sounding very arrogant or something like that. Oh, this is a baller scent, only ballers wear this. But there's no other way to really describe it. I mean, it literally smells rich, luxurious, high-end. Richwood is a great name. They're utilizing that sandalwood, the patchouli heavily here to create a very mature, very masculine scent that is not only strong in terms of performance, which is crazy, but also the actual scent profile has a heaviness to it. I mean, this stuff here, this is no joke. I blind bought this. I don't know what possessed me to do so. I really don't. But it worked out in my favor. I really wasn't sure what I was getting myself into here. I didn't think I was going to like it that much. So I don't know why I bought it. But I was like, well, at least it'd be cool to have in my collection, right? You know, I could show people, hey, I got Richwoods. But I love it. It smells fantastic. And it worked out in my favor for sure. Another oud fragrance, this is kind of the trend a little bit, but it kind of shows you what I'm not so comfortable with, which I think is a cool change of pace, because I do talk about stuff that I love all the time. And I do love these fragrances, by the way, but a lot of the stuff that I talk about that I really like is predictable for people who watch my channel, right? You guys know what I'm into. John Varvatos Oud. This was one of the last John Varvatos fragrances that I got in terms of going back and picking up stuff that I didn't buy when it first came out, right? At this time, I was still buying the new ones that were coming out, but as I was filtering through and trying to build up my entire John Varvatos collection, and I have just about all of them. I more recently picked up Artisan Black, which is a discontinued one. The point is, I was like, all right, you know, it's a John Varvatos. They've got a great track record. Maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't, but I really like it a lot. It's got that oud, but a ton of other resinous, smoky notes going on in here. It's got that John Varvatos signature DNA. It's so wearable. Probably the most wearable oud fragrance out of this entire list, or not probably, actually it is. And just one of the most wearable oud fragrances on the designer market, period. Really nice stuff. This one also was one that I put off for so long. It's insane. I still remember having this in my cart, then taking it out because it was $90, $100. And at the time I was like, I don't know if I want to spend that, right? Gucci Guilty Absolute. You guys know this one, the leather, woody, cypress bomb, but it really is all about the leather. Wow. It smells like a shop, right? Motor oil, rubber, tools, grease, all of that stuff, kind of, not really, but somewhat. It kind of reminds you of that environment. It doesn't actually necessarily smell like that stuff per se, but again, the environment of being in a very just greasy work environment, a masculine environment, right? It's kind of what this one smells like here. You know, you hear this one described in so many different ways, and those descriptors, believe it or not, put me off a little bit. Eventually, I'm like, I got to get it together and pick this one up. I just got to see what it's like, and I love it. I really do think this is a unique wearing experience. It's a great performer. It's also a discontinued one, but as per usual, true to my word, you could still get it on most discounters. So if you do want to own this before they completely wipe it out, I would get one while you can. Gucci discontinue some of their best stuff. A lot of times people don't realize how good it is until it's gone. So if you are on the fence, while I don't necessarily say you should blind buy it, maybe at least look into it. Alrighty, we're almost done here. Azzaro Pour Homme Elixir, Vanilla Pear Tonka Blackcurrant. I picked this one up just on a whim. Threw it in my cart, and I like it a lot. I didn't think I was going to because I thought it was going to be very old school. While it does have some of that old school smell going on, like the original Azzaro Pour Homme, right? It's balanced nicely with some sweet notes that kind of make it a little bit more cooler weather appropriate. And I do think it is a really nice scent, especially for the price. And last one up, this one is a scent that gives a lot of people issues. It got a good amount of hype when it first came out, and then the pushback started, right? You guys remember this. Moschino Toy Boy has rose, pink pepper, cashmere, magnolia, I believe, just a bunch of florals. It's super unique. It really is. It's a men's rose floral scent. You don't get this that often, and that's because it just isn't like mainstream. Most guys, basically almost all guys out there that go into a department store and pick out a fragrance, they're all going to run from this, okay? And so because of that, designer brands don't do this that often. It makes sense. But if you are after something unique and you like florals in men's fragrances, this is worth a smell. It's really impressive. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 risky blind buys that worked out great. I mean, seriously, I went into these putting so many of these off, and now a good majority of these have become some of my favorites. It's crazy how that works. I will link these down below. Don't forget Joma Shop Initio prices. Initio prices are going to be going up here in a couple weeks, so go knock out their inventory of Initio if you're wanting some. Again, like they have Oud for Greatness $195, which is unheard of. Also, community tab, posting over there, deals every day, multiple times a day. Get subscribed for that reason alone. You don't even, I mean, if you don't care about the videos, but you like fragrances and you like saving money, get subscribed for that reason. Seriously, save a lot of money over there. So many of you guys pick up some amazing stuff. And my favorite thing is seeing the comments of, oh, I just picked that up. Thank you so much. I've been looking for that. So don't be shy. If you've been looking for a fragrance and I post about it, let me know in the comments. It really encourages me and helps me continue to have no life by browsing these discount websites front to back multiple times a day. So yeah, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.